What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to another edition of the WhackoWeekly Podcast, where we're going to go over all things OU football from this previous week. I'm Steve Curtis, voice behind Wacko Sooners, and the college football playoffs are still running. You've got Indiana versus Oregon, and then Miami versus Ole Miss. Thank you, Indiana, for beating the pants off the Tide, getting a little bit of vengeance on OU's behalf. Thank you all very much. Now, with OU no longer being in the playoffs, as we've known for the last couple of weeks, unfortunately, the transfer portal's opened up, and OU's been making some big moves already in the early days. We've lost a couple more guys in the tail end of last week, had a lot of departures actually, but OU seems to be moving in the right direction, picking up a few new pieces out of the portal during the singular window of the offseason. So we're going to break it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. If this is your first time joining us in the Wacko Loop, welcome. We would love to have you stick around, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Plus, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights in season, and of course some memes to keep it lighthearted and fun, like we like it and kind of still need it right now in Sooner Nation after that unfortunate playoff loss. But that being said, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Please join us. We'd love it. So, first off, let's talk about these departures that we had hitting the portal in the last week since last week's Wacko Weekly. A lot of it, in my opinion at least, is just rotational to depth points that we're going to miss in some capacity. There are only, I think, 2 or 3 from this last week that I personally am really going to miss and am worried about. The rest, not massively. Now, of course, the aggregation of a lot of these losses, that's the more concerning part. No one loss is a make or break. But if, with regards to position depth, that's the bigger question here. So we'll kind of just run down the list real quick. So first off, Troy Everett, former center for Oklahoma, had a lot of issues with injuries. He had a knee injury in, I think it was, he had a knee injury in 2024, missed most of the year, came back late. Then 2025, he had another knee injury in fall camp just before the season opener against Illinois State, had to miss the whole year. Was still a vocal leader in the locker room, still would go out for the captain's meeting before every game. So a major part of the culture, major part of the locker room, but ultimately just could not stay healthy and needed to find another home, and OU needed to reallocate his resources, or the resources that they were spending with him. Next, Jacob Snyder, a redshirt sophomore wide receiver. Not really surprised here, just tons of depth already from guys that we're going to be seeing a lot of in 2026. Unlikely that he'd have cracked into the rotation. And also with the staff looking to make at least 1, probably 2 big additions at wide receiver, and then maybe 1 or 2 more after that are more rotational. Not surprised here by this departure at all. Luke Biklenko, junior offensive tackle, transferred in from Stanford in spring of 2025. I was a little surprised here, given that the only guys that would have really been ahead of him were Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje, who would be true sophomores next year. And Biklenko, as a senior, would have been a depth piece. Absolutely, probably would have been 3 or 4 in the rotation at tackle. Would have seen some rotational playing time. Now, I still understand, you've got 2 younger guys ahead of you. You've got Deacon Schmidt coming in. And the staff's probably looking to get bigger tackle pieces in the portal this offseason. So, of course, it makes sense. Was still expecting him to stick around, though, at least with the thoughts of him being a little bit higher in the depth chart. Apparently, he didn't think so. The staff also did not. Now, as we're going to talk about more as we talk about these offensive line departures, the only tackles that OU has on the roster right now prior to the 2026 recruits coming in are Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje. And we will talk about that as we get to the position group depth questions. Position group depth questions. There we go. Next up, this is the one that, of all the departures, really hurts me and makes me a little concerned. Devon Jordan, Day Jordan, sophomore corner. He wasn't one of the first guys in the rotation because, of course, you had Gentry Williams when he was healthy. You had Cortland Guillory. You had Eli Bowen. But I was still thinking, hey, next year, I was expecting Gentry Williams to leave, whether it be the portal or go pro or something like that, that Day Jordan would be pretty high up in the mix. We haven't even seen Jeremiah Newcomb play. And then, of course, Jacoby Johnson. So he'd be in that somewhere in 3 to 5 in the depth chart at corner. But given how much Brent loves rotating guys on defense, I would have thought he'd had plenty of playing time. But it would seem that not only was it a question of how much playing time he would get, it was also he wanted starter money. And the staff was not in a position where they felt that was, I don't want to say worthy, because then that makes it sound like Day-Day's not great, which he is, 180 pounds, and he blew up Daniel Hill in the Alabama game in Tuscaloosa. I'll never forget that. That was fantastic to see. But ultimately, he wanted starter money. The staff didn't agree with him, and he decided to hit the portal. I believe at this moment in time, Cincinnati is showing him a lot of interest right now and is willing and ready to pay him starter money. So props to him. If that's what he decides he needs and wants to do, go get him. Next up, this one is going to be a little polarizing. Michael Hawkins Jr., sophomore quarterback. So he will wear a red shirt for the 2025 season, meaning he'll have 3 years of eligibility left because he played out a lot of his true freshman season in 2024. This one I'm not concerned about. I am not broken up about. I am not remotely sad about. I'm perfectly happy with Michael Hawkins departing. And my reasoning is a little bit different than people might expect. So first of all, you've got Bo Bentley coming into the 2026 class. He is Ben Arbuckle's hand-chosen recruit quarterback. So you've got that coming in. And Bo plays a lot like John Mateer. Better mechanics, though. Better footwork, thank goodness. And it's unlikely that Hawkins will get an opportunity to start after that, because Hawkins departing probably means that John Mateer's staying. In fact, John Mateer will stay. He's not leaving. I'm willing to guarantee you he's not leaving. And then with Bo Bentley being the future, Michael Hawkins is probably not going to be your guy in 2027. So it makes sense that he would depart. Now, why I'm content with his departure has to do with the whole thing on social media during and after the LSU game at the end of the regular season with Mike himself and then his dad, Mike Sr. Mike Sr., when Mateer threw the second interception out of 3 on the day, was blasting the coaches and John Mateer for, oh, Mateer sucks. Oh, coaches, you got to put the best player in. If Michael Hawkins was that good, they would have played him at any point in the back half of the season where Mateer was struggling. And then Mike himself, after the game, went back to his apartment, put his feet up on a table, took a picture of it, and just said, man, I want to play ball, with a frown emoji. I understand that he didn't feel like he had enough playing time, or that he didn't have enough opportunities. I understand why the whole Hawkins family might be upset about that. But at the end of the day, if I'm a coach and I don't put you in because I believe that the guy who is throwing 3 interceptions gives me the best opportunity to win, and then your parents and you go whine about it on social media and locker room sabotage, that's what it is. There's no other way to label that. If you're going to start sabotaging the locker room and giving the fans more reason to go get upset because you're being emotional and all of that. No, you need to be mature. You need to bite your tongue, and you need to be a team first guy. And the Hawkins family, in my opinion, has shown through that little exchange back in late November that they are not OU team first people. Now, I'm going to get a lot of flack for that because Mike Sr. played at Oklahoma back in the day. Mike Jr. wanted to play at Oklahoma. That was his dream school, and he's been very patient. He had an opportunity last year as a true freshman, had a couple good moments. The few big moments he had against Tennessee, the Auburn win, huge. Absolutely. His performance in the Armed Forces Bowl last year, for crying out loud, that was good too. But you have a more experienced guy who is better at starter. And if you really were better than the guy ahead of you. If Michael Hawkins really was better than John Mateer, the coaches would have seen it in practice and they would have put Michael Hawkins in over John Mateer. Hawkins family, I'm sorry, that's the brutal truth of it. Mike would have had more playing time if he was better than John Mateer. Since he didn't play, he is not. I'm sorry if that hurts. I understand if you're upset about the whole dynamic and how you feel like he didn't get enough opportunities, but that's the fact of the matter. So the locker room sabotage for me is why I'm actually happy about the departure. Oklahoma does not need that, nor should any school want that. I hope that the same mistakes aren't made wherever his next stop is. I believe he's visiting West Virginia, or I believe he already had his visit at West Virginia over the weekend. Next up, Malik Hawkins at freshman cornerback. You really didn't think that we were going to keep both one Hawkins without the other, did you? Because the Hawkins family's livid with the coaches over the whole Mike situation at quarterback. So, and honestly, this one, and totally separate Malik from Michael here other than last name. The deal with Malik, he played only 3 snaps against Kent State. So we have no idea what he could have become. We didn't get to see a lot of it. But you had another true freshman in at corner this year and had plenty of opportunities. So again, fans don't be freaking out over the Malik Hawkins exit because your best true freshman corner is staying. And you got plenty of other good guys coming with him. Or staying with him, I should say. Tristan Haynes, anyone? But Malik will probably redshirt 2025, given that he only played on defense in 1 game. I don't think he played on special teams at all. So there's that. Next one. This one's sad. This one's sad, but I understand it. Gentry Williams, senior corner. So when healthy, Gentry was a stud. Gentry was a monster when he was healthy. Keyword healthy. He had a lot of trouble. On the one hand, in 2023, he missed the back half of the year with a shoulder injury. 2024, he missed the entire year with an ACL tear. And then he was banged up in the South Carolina game here in 2025 and did not come back at all. Now, Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory are rising in the ranks. You've also got Jeremiah Newcomb out behind him. And Jacoby Johnson, right? You've got all those guys back there. And they're able to stay healthy better than Gentry Williams is. And Gentry Williams, from what I've been told, like Day Jordan, wanted more starter money, but because of the depth at corner, because these younger guys are staying healthier longer, staff wasn't prepared to meet him where he wanted to be. They were looking, now the staff was looking to give him closer to starter money through incentives throughout the season, but that was not where a reasonable agreement could be made from both sides. Not going to pin it on any one party here. Just ultimately an agreement couldn't be made, which is understandable. If you feel your worth is one thing and the staff says, we're not prepared to meet you that way, I understand the departure. Much love to Gentry, though. Kids toughed it out. Go get them, buddy. Next up on the offensive line, we've got 2 to talk about here. Logan Howland at offensive tackle, redshirt sophomore. So he's someone that the staff really wanted to keep. But of course, like Beklenko, doesn't want to sit behind Foje and Fasusi, which, understandable. Who can blame him? Because you're an older guy, you'll be a redshirt junior, and you've got 2 true sophomores sitting ahead of you, getting all the start time. So while it's great having 2 true freshmen out at tackle setting the edge, the drawback is that it's hard to keep other talented guys waiting behind them because they know that their time will be up before the younger guys ahead of them. So yeah, cost of having great young offensive tackles is you lose a lot of depth guys. Then Jake Taylor, redshirt junior at offensive tackle, same deal. Did not want to sit and wait, which understandable given his age compared to the younger guys, and just couldn't work it out in a way that worked for everybody. Next one, this one's kind of concerning as well. So that's what, three that I'm kind of bummed about. Marcus Strong at defensive tackle, redshirt sophomore. I'm so confused by this because at the end of the day, Grayson Halton and Dominic Williams are gone. You've got Jaden Jackson, David Stone. That's your top two. Marcus Strong would have been DT number 3. And again, how much BV loves rotating. Strong would have had a lot of playing time as a redshirt junior. So I have no clue what happened here at all. With that departure, the staff is going to be going after a big defensive tackle, at least 2, I would expect, maybe 3. Totally shocked. Totally shocked here. You've also got Ricky Lolahea in the wings back there somewhere. And yeah, no. I have no idea. I have no idea. Carson Kent, redshirt junior tight end, had a grand total of 3 receptions for 26 yards in 3 games. Now, the next bit is not about Carson Kent. I'm going to go on a Joe John Finley tangent for a second. So, as we posted on Wacko's socials this week, Joe John Finley, tight ends coach, was fired this week, and the staff at OU is looking to replace him, of course. Now, the situation with tight end over Finley's 5 years at Oklahoma has been drop. Then Jaron Canick, but then nothing else came of it. Caden Helms didn't work out. Will Huggins, okay, he's big guy, but was not a key component. Carson Kent, nothing. Austin Stogner back in the day was okay. Bauer Sharp was a disaster. So the Carson Kent situation in tunnel vision, right, is indicative of the whole Joe John Finley experience. There's been little consistent production there. I don't think Carson Kent himself was the cause of Joe John Finley getting fired. Just tight ends at OU under Joe John Finley have not produced. Jaron Canick's an exception. And dude played linebacker his first 3 years in college, swapped over, and within 8 months, he was a third-team All-SEC tight end. I don't know. I don't think on that. I used to say that was a testament to Joe John Finley. I think that's just a testament to Jaron Canick. Because Joe John didn't have enough time to mess him up. Now, I do understand that a lot of this is clouded by fan opinions that the fan base hates Joe John Finley, which, given the production at tight end, I don't necessarily blame them. But the man deleted his social media because of all the hate he was getting. So I also don't blame him for granted he was fired, but I'm sure in conversation he was like, yeah, okay, understood. He's probably like, thank goodness I don't have to deal with all that anymore. And then finally, the last entry to the portal that we had, sophomore running back Taylor Tatum. 4-star in the 2024 class, number 1 running back in the 2024 class. Could not hold on to the ball. In 2024, he had 56 carries for 278 yards, 4 fumbles, 3 of which he did not get back. He played in 11 games. He did not play at Auburn. He did not play at LSU in 2024. And then even in the Alabama game in 2024, the 24-3 victory, he played in the first quarter, coughed up the ball, did not see the field again. Did not see the field the rest of the day. Did not see the field at LSU the next week. Saw it a little bit in the Armed Forces Bowl. So, and then in 2025, he had 1 carry for minus a yard. So his net yardage at Oklahoma was 57 carries for 277 yards in 2 years. Yeah, no. Not going to work. Now, the whole thing here is that while he was definitely incredibly talented, and DeMarco Murray is a fantastic recruiter of running backs, the ultimate issue here is that his heart and mind were in baseball. And that's fine. That's fine. He played both football in 2024, then he played a little bit of baseball in the spring, had some injuries coming into the 2025 football season. But kid's a baseball player and could not or would not get himself in the right position, football-wise, mentally and emotionally, to go down, get it done, and be the guy he needed to be for football. And that's fine. I'm just glad that it's no longer what's happening with Taylor Tatum? I will say it is another botched recruit from DeMarco Murray because he recruited Javonte Barnes and showed out a little bit at the end of 2022, showed out a little bit in 2024, but now he's gone. Gavin Sawchuk showed out in 2023. He's gone. Taylor Tatum, gone. Torrey Blaylock did okay this year. Jaber Robinson did okay late last year and then throughout this year. But, I mean, heck, there's talk in the transfer portal of going out and getting a bigger running back to put them ahead of him. So, DeMarco, we got to work on this recruiting thing, buddy. We got to get guys and we got to develop them. We got to get them in the right space. Please. So that wraps it up for who we've lost. Now we can talk about position group depth questions I have. Gosh, I said it right that time. So ultimately, the two things that I'm most worried about are offensive tackle and defensive tackle. Okay, I'm worried about the trenches. Offensive line in general, actually. Because right now you've got Michael Fasusi, Eddie Pierre-Louis, Jake Michaela, probably Heath Ozide at right guard, and then Ryan Foje at right tackle. That's who you've got. You've pretty much got not a whole lot left. You've got Noah Best coming in the 2026 class. He's an interior kid. And then Deacon Schmidt, who plays a lot of tackle but can play guard as well. So might see him slide in there ahead of Ozida, right? But I'm not liking the depth at offensive line, guys. We saw what happened in 2024 when you had poor depth at offensive line. We can't do it again. Cannot. So I expect the staff to go after offensive linemen like crazy in the portal. And so far, they've actually been looking at some pretty decent guys that I'm kind of excited about. And then defensive tackle, because ultimately the D-line for OU this year was its ultimate strength. Because you had Halton, Williams, Stone, Jackson, Adebawore. Why did I mess that up? Marvin Jones, R. Mason Thomas, Taylor Wine, a little bit of Danny Okoye. You had studs all across that defensive line. But you lose RMT, you lose Marvin Jones, you lose Dom Williams, you lose G-Baby. That's some room that you got to make up for. Now, I'm not worried about defensive end because you've got Wine, you've got Adebawore, you've got Danny Okoye. I'm not worried about that at all. I'm worried about tackle because right now you've only got two that are really worth working with right now. And that's not a slight to anyone behind them. That's just a matter of what we've seen in production. So you do have some great young guys coming in. Granted, Brian Harris and Tank Carrington, but you still need a little bit more experience in the 2 deep. So yeah, the trenches are the big question here. I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. Now, do I think that Brent and Todd Bates are going to figure it out? Absolutely. But still, as a humble fan on the sidelines here in early January, I'm nervous. So with that being said, we've kind of gone over all the departures, right? So we can get into some of these targets that OU's been moving on. So first off, tight end Hayden Hansen out of Florida, 6'8", 269 pounds. He committed to Oklahoma on Sunday. Big boy. All right, he had 30 receptions for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't see him being a massive weapon in the passing game. I see him primarily as a blocker, as an extra offensive lineman to help in the run game because as we heard Brent in his post-game presser after losing to Alabama in the first round, we need to run the ball better. Absolutely, BV, and that's why you got Mr. Hansen. A Weatherford, Texas native. I'm a Weatherford, Texas native, so let's go, buddy. But yeah, I'm excited about this one. He's a redshirt junior, so he'll be a 1-year rental, but that's okay. That's okay. One of my good buddies and my roommate actually is a big Florida Gators fan. And I asked him earlier when the news came out, I said, hey, what do we think? I see in comment sections a lot of Florida fans are dissing him. And my buddy said, you know what? He dropped passes every once in a while, but I can't think of a single time where he'd block in the run game and we lost our minds in anguish and he screwed up. So you should be all right. Great. I think his purpose is to come in as a run blocker. So that's the first commit out of the portal we have. Yay, bigger tight ends. Hallelujah. Now on offensive line, we'll go by position group here. We'll start on offense. We'll go down to defense. You've got Masai King. He's a redshirt junior tackle from Akron, 6'4", 305. That's the right size, and he's got plenty of experience. Honestly, if you feel better about Foje at guard than you do Ozaida, if you're able to bring him in and if you're able to bring King in and he's pretty solid, you could put him at right tackle, Foje in at right guard. I'd feel pretty good about that lineup, honestly. Now, I haven't spent tons of time researching Mr. King because it's still early and his name came into the OU search in the last 36 hours. So, unfortunately, I don't know how good he is, and let alone how well his Akron competition going to translate to Oklahoma in the SEC. But we've seen plenty of G5 guys come up and perform well against SEC competition. So who's to say that anyone from the G5 or anywhere really, anyone from the G5, FCS, D2, JUCO, whatever, we've seen it time and again. Trinidad Chambliss, D2 kid, comes in and he's balling out. So it's possible. Brock Riker, freshman on the interior from Texas State. He's 6'4", 290. OU got moving on him pretty quickly, I believe. I really like that they're going after a younger guy with the thought of kind of like a Jermichael Carter at wide receiver. Just get him young, develop him throughout his first year or two for him to be really dang good later on. I'd expect if you get him, he's probably going to redshirt 2026, but you never know. I think that would be a good long-term investment get, I think. And he played a decent bit at Texas State, did pretty well. Tyler Mercer, another interior guy, Kansas sophomore, 6'4", 300. He's moved around a lot on the inside. He's played a little bit of center, played a little bit of guard. He could slip in to the rotation at some point. From what I've been told, he's a Sooner fan. He's got siblings at OU. He was a freshman All-American at North Texas in 24 before transferring to Kansas for 25. However, his former staff from UNT is now in Stillwater at Oklahoma State. So don't be surprised if the pesky Pokes don't try and worm their way in there. Now, this next one I'm actually really excited about. You've got Chimdia Nwewu, I always mess that up, at Stephen F. Austin. Now, you heard me right. Nwewu. He is Fabechi's younger brother. He's a junior offensive tackle down at Stephen F. Austin. He's 6'5", 296. I'd actually like that. If he's anything like his brother Fabechi, work ethic's going to be huge. He's going to put in the work, put in the time, and he's going to earn his spot, and he's going to do really well. From what I've been told, Oklahoma State is also involved with him, as well as Tyler Mercer. So, Pokes, get out of the way. Let Big Brother handle it. And then last on the offensive line, we've got Caleb Nida. I think it's Nida. Western Kentucky redshirt sophomore on the interior. He's 6'2", 297. And he's actually was expected to arrive for his visit yesterday morning. We'll see how that one pans out. Now, running back, so far we've only got one guy that we're really looking at, and that's Lloyd Avant out of Colorado State. He's a sophomore, spent his first season at Tulsa where he played well. He's 5'10", 200 pounds, had 90 carries for 417 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2025. Here's my beef with this. I'm not sure why we're going after a G5 running back with middling production at under 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. I could care less if it's G5 or P4 or D2 or whatever. I could care less where they go find a running back. I care about what he's done where he is. So, we need a monstrosity at running back, and 417 yards in the Mountain West is not screaming monstrosity to me. Now, if he comes in and proves me wrong, great. But I'm not he's looking like a lock for OU at this moment in time here on Monday morning. But I'm not super psyched about this. If he comes in and proves me wrong, I will apologize. But I don't understand this one. Then we talked about Hayden Hansen at tight end. Then a couple more tight ends that they've been looking at. Tucker Ashcraft out of Wisconsin. He's a junior, 6'5", 260. There's a running theme here with tight end in this transfer portal cycle. They are all 6'5 plus, and they're all big. The idea here for most of the tight ends in this portal cycle that OU's targeting is big guys to block in the run game. So Ashcraft, 6'5", 260. He had 2 receptions for 10 yards. Yeah, this is a blocking guy, or a guy that they're looking to bring in to block. Yeah, physical mold. Next guy is the same thing. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, and I'm sorry. Theo Melon Urstrom, I think. It's Swedish. But Texas A&M, redshirt junior, he's 6'6", 257 with 19 receptions, 168 yards, and a touchdown. I could see that one turning into a bit of a pass catcher, but also big enough to block. Probably put a little bit more weight on him. Next, Alexander Honig. I think that's how I pronounce that one. He's German. From UConn, redshirt senior. He's 6'7", 270, 13 receptions, 162 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So those two, I think, are mainly for depth purposes. Bigger guys to bring in for short yardage, run game, blocking. Now, the tight end that I'm most excited about, a Valor Christian legend, and I say that because I have a lot of buddies that graduated from Valor Christian up in Littleton, Colorado. Jake Michaela, Valor Christian. Gabe and Gavin Sawchuk, Valor Christian. One Rocky Beers out of Colorado State, redshirt senior. He's 6'5", 245 with 31 receptions for 388 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's pretty condensed. Like, dang, that's more than 10 yards per reception, and that's a lot of touchdowns to go with that. So, yeah, I like that. He is a little bit on the lighter side. Reminds me a little bit of a Jaron Kanik. Now, granted, he's much taller. But, yeah. What a name, too. Rocky Beers. That's fantastic, man. Now, it also helps that he's got his sister, Reagan Beers. She plays basketball for Oklahoma. And when Rocky came in for his visit on Sunday, he got there in time for one of the women's basketball games. So Sissy is probably pulling her sibling strings here, trying to get him in. So Reagan, if you're tuning in, bring him home. Bring brother Rocky home. Looking forward to this. I would honestly love to see Rocky. That's a great name on a jersey. Back to like General Booty, right? Rocky Beers on a jersey. Now we'll move on to wide receiver. So from what I've been given to understand, I think it's pretty well known at this point as well. The office staff has decided that they've set aside, really, I should say, not even decided they're going to set aside because they've already done it. They've set aside enough funds for 2 pretty big fish or 1 gigantic fish. The gigantic fish that everyone's talking about right now, Cam Coleman out of Auburn, sophomore. I don't think he needs much of an introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. 6'3", 201, 56 receptions for 708 yards and 5 touchdowns. The whole world is after Cam Coleman. And Oklahoma is in pursuit in some fashion. And I'm not sharing anything groundbreaking either when I say that it is incredibly competitive. It is incredibly expensive. Right now, it looks like Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and USC are the favorites. I was told by Texas fans that he'd go on his visit to Austin and not leave. Well, he left Saturday night and got to College Station. So, haha. Thank you for getting rid of Parker Livingstone and for the possibility of Cam Coleman and not getting Cam Coleman. That's a smile on my face. Screw the Horns. I hate those guys, as do we all. So the likelihood of Coleman at Oklahoma, I think we just need to resign ourselves that it's not going to happen. It would be nice if it could, but I don't see a world in which it works out, which is fine. I'd love to get him. The kind of guy that every defense is going to fear and have to account for him would be a fantastic pickup. But at the end of the day, if you can't get him, you can't get him. And that's all right. Go get 2 guys that are going to be pretty productive as well. Maybe not Cam Coleman's, but you'll have 2 of them. Now, that being said, that moves me to the one I'm most excited about in wide receiver. Parker Livingstone out of Texas, redshirt freshman. He's 6'4", 191 pounds. Had 29 receptions for 516 yards and 6 touchdowns. Dang, dude. That was a weak whistle. Yeah, I can't whistle. It is what it is. Ultimately, I'm really excited about Parker because he was hoping for an OU offer out of high school, coming from Lucas, Texas. Didn't get it, which kind of broke his heart. He ended up going to Texas, wore his red shirt in 2024, balled out this year in 2025. Now, during his recruitment out of high school, wide receiver coach at OU, Emmett Jones, actually really wanted him. Jeff Levy, offensive coordinator at the time, wasn't huge on it. So that's why that didn't pan out. And Texas, as I said a moment ago, Texas fans are claiming that they offered him a 6-figure NIL deal and he wanted more and he refused, so he left. No. That is Texas trying to look above it and make their guys that are leaving them in the dirt and trashing them, saying they force them out, look bad. It is common sense that if you're going after Cam Coleman in the portal, and Cam Coleman is going to want that wide receiver one spot, and one of your best guys at receiver that you would have returning was top 2 in your team in touchdowns and receiving yards, I think that's right, that you're going to want to make it look as vacant as possible so Cam Coleman has no doubts about taking the number 1 spot. So, of course, you're going to kick him out. And then he does something you don't expect and says that he was forced out. And then you're going to say, oh, no, he wasn't forced out. We tried to be cool. We tried to give him more money, or we tried to give him a decent amount of money. He wanted more. No, Texas. You wanted Cam Coleman. You kicked out the guy that would threaten that position the most. And then you didn't get Cam Coleman yet. I'm not saying it's done. You might get him. But it's not looking good since he's on his visit in College Station right now at Texas A&M. So right now, I think Indiana's the primary rival for Parker Livingstone. He was in Bloomington for his visit on Saturday. He's expected to arrive in Norman, I believe, today on Monday. Or maybe it was yesterday, Sunday. Either or. Next up, Trell Harris, Virginia, wide receiver. He's a senior, 6 foot, 200 pounds, 59 receptions for 847 yards and 5 touchdowns. He visited campus on yesterday. The staff is looking to lock him up pretty quick. This is what I'm looking for when I'm talking about proven production. If Lloyd Avant, a running back from Colorado State, had 800 plus yards on the year, I'd feel a lot better about it. So, love this look from Trell Harris. Hopefully we can get that done. And then Parker Livingstone and those BR2 gets a wide receiver. Quasi Gilmer, I think. Next is UCLA, sophomore, 6'2", 190. 50 receptions, 535 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So OU was pretty heavily involved with him when he was coming out of high school. He's got a connection with OU's director of player personnel, Stacy Ford, since he worked at UCLA in 2024 prior to the OU job opening up under Jim Nagy. So that, if something with Harris or Livingston doesn't work out, then might get something with Gilmer. Perry Thompson, another Auburn kid, sophomore, 6'3", 220, 17 receptions for 154 yards, no touchdowns. It's not really clear how heavily the staff is going after him. South Dakota's Lorenzo Fenner, redshirt sophomore. He's 6 foot, 185, 44 receptions for 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns this year. I wouldn't mind checking that out and seeing what you can do with it. If you want to go get 3 receivers, I'd be okay with that being a third in addition to Parker Livingston and Trell Harris. Then you've got a Reed Harris out of Boston College, redshirt sophomore. He's 6'5", 217. I like the size. It's giving Jaden Gibson in late 2023 because he's got 39 receptions for 673 yards and 5 touchdowns. Can we have Jaden Gibson return? Or no, a Jaden Gibson clone? Is that what this could be? Because that's what Jaden Petit is looking like as well coming in the 2026 class. And then the last wide receiver we have here is Cole Adams, Alabama, redshirt sophomore. 5'10", 183, so pretty small, a little bit like a Drake Stoops, but he's only got 5 receptions and 71 yards and a touchdown in his, 3 seasons now? Now, he is an Owasso, Oklahoma native, so there's that could work for us. And OU was involved with him in high school. Alabama did end up walking away with him, but as we just discussed, his production is limited. It would make sense to go after him given proximity and history, but production just isn't there. So I would prefer it if we didn't go after this one. So my takeaways here, if you can get Parker Livingston, Trell Harris, and then Lorenzo Fenner, a wide receiver, and add them with Satania. Because I posted on, I believe it was Friday evening, that Isaiah Satania is returning. Nobody else has been talking about that yet because he hasn't made an official announcement. He's coming back. I have it on good authority that he's coming back, and then an announcement will come out very soon. So that's why I got such a jump on it. But if you saw that on our Instagram, great. But ultimately, put those 3 guys, Livingston, Harris, and Fenner, with Satania, Elijah Thomas, Jaden Petit, Jermichael Carter, and Giovanni Gibson. I feel really good about that wide receiver room all of a sudden. Now let's hop over to the defense. So Cody Sigler, Arkansas State, redshirt junior, defensive tackle, 6'3", 297. He visited on Sunday. But the major competition here is Penn State and Auburn. And after his visit to Oklahoma, his representation is kind of pulled back, and he's still having his visit at Penn State here soon. So don't expect that one to swing our way. Austin Ramsey at Kentucky, junior, 6'4", 303. Was a hot target. At first, he had a visit scheduled in Norman, but it ended up getting canceled as OU kind of got closer in with other targets at defensive tackle. Then Owen Wafel maybe, I'm not quite sure. Penn State, redshirt freshman. He's 6'2", 292. He was pursued by Oklahoma a lot coming out of high school. And then in last portal cycle, so he initially went to Michigan for his freshman season, and then wore his redshirt, transferred to Penn State for 2025. Then the dumpster fire that was, and entered the portal, and OU's trying to go get him back. So let's bring it in. That one could be exciting, especially because he's a little young as well. So long-term investment maybe. And at linebacker, you've got Gideon Lamprin, not sure yet. Bowling Green, he's a junior, 6 foot, 220. The staff offered him on Friday, and then he'll take his visit. I believe he took his visit Friday afternoon. Or no, this upcoming Friday. This upcoming Friday is his visit. So it will have been a week between offer and visit. He had 119 tackles in 2025. If I'm not mistaken, that's the FBS leading tackler. Bring him home. Bring him home, BB. Do it, please. I love this. Put that with Kip Lewis. I expect Kip to come back. And Owen Heineke, I expect Heineke to come back. And then Sammy Omasigo as well. I expect Sammy to stay. Whoa. Then Cole Sullivan, Michigan sophomore, 6'3", 230. OU's apparently high on his list of options. And he had 44 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions in 2025. So put him at linebacker as well with Lampert and then the 3 other guys I mentioned that we already have on roster. Whoa. That would be a nice addition. And then Owen Long, another linebacker that we're really excited about. All 3 of these would actually be really good gets in my opinion. But Owen Long, Colorado State junior. He's 6'2", 230. Okay, no, it was Owen Long that was a leading tackler for the FBS, and then it was Gideon Lampert that was pretty close behind him, I believe. My mistake. OU's definitely in the mix for one Owen Long. Again, a lot of it does depend on what Kip and Owen do, or what Kip does and what Owen can do. Does Kip come back? Is Owen allowed to come back? And I honestly think if you can get some of these guys, it would be a major stack at linebacker, and you wouldn't miss a beat. Because the only guy that you're losing out of your top 4 rotation right now is Kobe McKenzie. And if you can replace him and you keep Kip and Owen and Sammy, great. And then you get 1 or 2 of these guys. There we go. That was a better whistle. Now, I will say Indiana is also in the mix for this one, as they are with Parker Livingston. But given who this coaching staff is, I bet you that it would swing pretty easily in OU's favor upon a visit from Owen Long. Then we'll move into the secondary. You've got Aaron Scott, corner out of Ohio State. He's a sophomore, 6 foot, 195. Now, he reportedly entered the portal with Oklahoma as one of his top choices, is, one of his ideal landing spots. And I honestly think if OU seeks him out and pushes for him, that will wrap up very quickly. And it wouldn't hurt to have more depth at corner, given that you lost Malik Hawkins and that you lost Day Jordan and Gentry Williams. Given those 3 losses. Now, you're not really going to notice those, I don't think, a whole lot next year, but it would still be good to have a young guy behind them, behind Cortland Guillory and Eli Bowen to help out there. Then you've got Dakota Fields, another corner, Oregon freshman, has all of 1 tackle to his name. He's 6'2", 190, and would bring 3 years of eligibility, a lot like a Jermichael Carter at wide receiver or at Riker that we're looking as a target on the offensive line. I think that Dakota Fields would be a really good long-term investment. I think you can work with that. And then finally, last one, it's safety, Lyric Rawls. I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Kansas, he's a redshirt senior at safety, 6'1", 205. Staff's been in contact with him. As far as I'm aware, no offers have been made yet. I don't think extra depth at safety would be bad because you've got Peyton Bowen, Michael Boganowski, you've got Reggie Powers in at Cheetah, a little bit of safety. and Jaden Hardy. It wouldn't hurt to have another one with a lot of experience back there. If the staff decides they want him, or decides they want a portal safety at all, Rawls would be a pretty good pick, in my humble opinion. So that's going to wrap that up for targets that we're looking at as of Sunday night, Monday morning. And then just other news before we wrap up here, returning. So as I mentioned, Isaiah Satania is coming back. Per OU Insiders live show on Friday night, mind you, Parker Thune and Brandon Drum said, yeah, he's coming back. And of course, no one's posting about it. Isaiah Satania has yet to make an announcement. He's coming back without question. We got the jump on it on posting about it. So if you follow us, you would have seen it. If you don't, go follow us so you get these things when it comes out. I expect an official announcement from Satania or someone in his camp in the next couple of days. Kip Lewis. His return is looking more and more likely with each passing day, more and more confident. The staff has put together a really nice package for him. Obviously, given what he was doing this last year, I'd be shocked if he does not come back at this point. Expect to hear back probably no later than Thursday is my best guess. John Mateer will also be returning in 2026, in case you couldn't tell by the Michael Hawkins departure. Mateer's coming back. I think as long as he stays healthy, no more broken thumbs, and fixes his footwork and cools down a little bit and gets better chemistry going with the whole offense, because year 1 to year 2 for an entire offensive system is going to be a massive change. You're going to see improvement, I think. So I see no reason why 2026 cannot be a great year for this offense, as long as Mateer stays healthy and does the work in the offseason to fix his feet and fix his eyes. Then finally, last bit of housekeeping, Owen Heineke. So while we don't really know which way his appeal for an extra year of eligibility is leaning, there's more optimism today than there has been in prior weeks. It's still uncertain, but ultimately, should 3 games of lacrosse count towards a year of collegiate athletic eligibility? Because right now, he's had 4 years to play 3 seasons of football because he's utilized a red shirt in one of them. We saw Diego Pavia get his extra year because he played at the Military Institute and the whole JUCO thing. Why can't we also make it happen for someone who played in 3 games of an entire other sport? He could have, in football terms, since you can play 4 games and still keep a red shirt, he played 3 games of lacrosse. That could, yeah, let's work with that. But the NCAA is the NCAA. They have no teeth to do anything anymore. I don't even know why we bother anymore. College football just needs to split entirely from the NCAA and do a better job of making their own rules and regulations and managing it. But that is another discussion for another time. But yeah, when it comes to these other big pieces of news, Kip Lewis and Owen Heineke, we will be on the clock at all times, trying to make sure that we get that news out for you when it comes up. So, that being said, as we wrap up here, Sooner Nation, that's going to do it for this edition of the Wacko Weekly. But if it was your first time joining us, okay, join the Wacko Loop. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. And if you want to keep all that news about Kip Lewis and Owen Heineke, you know where to find us. All of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X at Wacko Sooners for those live news updates. For some, game highlights, we're going to be doing some draft highlight tapes for guys that are going out for the pros. We will have plenty of OU content coming for you this offseason, okay? Just because games are over does not mean we stop. We are here for you all year, okay? All the time. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Go follow us on all of our socials, all at Wacko Sooners. Stay in the Wacko Loop. Stay safe, Sooner Nation. Happy New Year, guys. This portal cycle is getting off to a fun start. With that being said, Boomer Sooner.